So hi friends, continuing with our discussion on derivatives. Let's look at what are forward contracts. So we already have done that there are four types of derivatives which we are going to discuss: future, forwards, options, and swaps. So in this video we'll discuss forwards, then we'll discuss futures, and then swaps, and finally options. So let's look at what are forwards. So a forward contract is a private agreement. So just keep eye on the words. Is a private agreement between two parties, giving the buyer an obligation, right? So this is an obligatory contract. So this is a contingent liability to purchase an asset, right? And seller an obligation to sell an asset at a set price at a future point of time. So it's a private contract, unlike a future which is traded over an exchange. This is an OTC instrument, right? So you may get a question that which of them is an OTC instrument. If there is a choice, forward contract, then it is an OTC instrument, right? So it is a over-the-counter instrument. It's a private agreement. Since it's and there are a lot of forwards which happen in an economy, but since these are the private contracts, we don't know the exact size of the forward market. The asset often traded in the forward contract includes commodities like grains, precious metals, electricity, oil, beef, orange juice, natural gas, but foreign currencies and financial instruments are also part of today's forward markets. So generally it started with trading of commodities, but now there are forward contracts which are based on interest rates, on foreign currencies, and on other financial instruments, right? So let's take an example. If you plan to grow 500 bushels of wheat next year, you could sell your wheat for whatever the price is when you harvest it, or you could lock in the price now by selling a forward contract that obliges you to sell 500 bushels of wheat to, say, Kellogg's after the harvest for a fixed price, right? So you can fix the price that I am sowing 500 quintals or bushels of wheat, and I would sell it at, let's say, rupees 20 per kg, and Kellogg's would buy it from me at rupees 20 per kg, and it would buy 500 bushels, right? So the price of the forward contract would be 500 into 20, which is equal to how much? Which is equal to 10,000, right? So that is the price at which you are going to sell to the Kellogg's 1 year down the line. How would it help you? It would help you in case the price of bushel gets less than 20 rupees, right? You are fixed. You safeguard yourself by already getting into the contract and saying that I would pay 20 rupees. By locking the price, you eliminate the risk of price falling the wheat. On the other hand, if price rises, you will only get what your contract entitles you, right? So you are hedging your risk rather here, right? And hedging your risk comes at a cost, so which means that if there is a price rise, you would not be able to get a profit of that. You have to oblige the contract. If you are Kellogg's, you might want to purchase a forward contract to lock a price. Why would a Kellogg's buy this kind of contract? Kellogg's would buy this kind of contract because they foresee that the price of the wheat might increase from 20 rupees per kg after a year to, let's say, 25 rupees per kg. So they want to de-risk themselves. They again want to hedge themselves, and they would say that let me fix the contract, let me fix the quantity, and I'll buy this quantity at this price in after a year, right? So that's how they are hedging their risks as well. And control your costs. So in this way you would control the costs. So controlling the costs is very important for an organization like Kellogg or for a business, because then they could focus on the core function of the business. The core function of Kellogg's, for example, is distribution, right? They invest hugely in distribution. It would be advertising, it would be product research. So they don't want to waste their time in calculating cost or in actually looking at cost or variability of cost. However, you may end up overpaying and hopefully underpaying for the wheat depending on the market price when you take the delivery, right? So overpaying is also okay, because at the end of the day you want to hedge yourself, right? You don't want to carry that risk. So that's a simple example of a forward contract. Now let's look at what is pricing and value of a forward contract. So in the previous example, let's take the wheat only. So you decided to go long on a forward contract, which means you would buy a forward contract with a farmer after a year at a price point of rupees 2000 rupees per quintal, right? So that's the contract that you would buy 1 quintal of wheat from a farmer at 2000 rupees. When you do the contract, there is no value to the contract, right? Because you didn't pay anything to anyone. Since you didn't pay anything to anyone, there is no value to the contract. But the price of the contract is, so there is a difference between price and the value, right? So the price of the contract is 2000 rupees. So we would say the price of this forward is 2000 rupees per quintal after and the duration of the contract is 1 year, right? So that's the terminology in forwards. Whereas the value is 0 at this point of time. There is the difference between value and price of the forward contract. We'll we'll dissect it further. So how to derive this future value, right? So here we are saying that we are entering into 2000 rupees per quintal. How do we actually decide this value? It's slightly complicated and it depends on a lot of factors. It depends on, let's say, risk-free interest rate, cost of carry, additional value derived by keeping the commodity. So this is actually, for example, you have shares. So value derived by keeping the share is in the form of derivative, in the form of dividends, right? So, and probability factors. So this is very important, and actually entire hedging or entire arbitrage depends on the probability factor, right? For example, somebody may foresee that the price of wheat might increase in the future because monsoon failure happened, right? So the monsoon failure, the occurrence of monsoon is a probability factor. It plays an important role in determining the future price of wheat. So let's assume that the current price of wheat is 1500 and there is a risk-free interest rate which is 8% per annum, which means that this is the opportunity cost of the capital. For the sake of simplicity, we assume that there is no cost of carry and there is no cost of benefit. Also, crop pattern remains the same, hence there is no change in the demand, right? So there is no probabilistic factors. So which means that if you purchase the wheat for 1500 rupees today and you keep it with you for a year at zero cost of carry, you would just be able to sell it at an increased opportunity cost. So the future value would be written as the same time value of money formula. Ft is equal to S naught, which is 1500, plus into 1 plus R raised to power T. So T here is 1. So 1500 into 1 plus into 1.08. So which means that 2000 should be 1620. If there is no probabilistic factor and if there is no cost of carry, we would see how this would change if there is cost of carry. Now if the forward contract is available in 2000, as we previously discussed, there is definitely an arbitrage opportunity. How is there an arbitrage opportunity? Let's see that. An arbitrager would borrow money from the bank at 8%, buy wheat today at 1500, store it for a year, and we are assuming that storage cost is 0, and enter into the contract, right? So I entered into the contract with that arbitrager. So after a year, I would buy the wheat from him at rupees 2000. So what he would what he would do is he would pay bank 1620 back, and he would earn a risk-free profit of 380. This is a risk-free profit because he is not taking any risk. So the market would actually not allow this kind of arbitrage in, and it would actually adjust itself. Thus the future price is flawed and market would adjust itself or correct itself till the time that there is no arbitrage opportunity. But there is always an arbitrage opportunity because there are always a lot of probabilistic factors which different persons see in different way. Now let's look at what is value of a forward contract at any particular point T, right? So let's assume that the arbitrage is taken care of, right? Value of the forward contract at the time of inception should be 0, as the present value and the risk-free interest rate is used to derive the future value, right? So value of the forward contract is 0 because even if you let's say deposit your money in the bank, you would get the same price in the future, right? So if you deposit 1500 at 8%, you would get 1620 after a year, which is also the price of wheat in future, right? So this means that you are not earning anything extra other than what you would have earned if you deposit the money at a risk-free interest rate. Now assume that at the time of expiry, due to many factors, for example monsoon failed, the wheat is available at 1700 per quintal, right? So now the farmer is obliged to sell you at 1620, which means that now after buying it for 1620 you can further sell it in the market at 1700, which means you would gain rupees 80, and this 80 is now called the value of the contract for a long, right? For a person who has bought the contract. The value of the contract for the short party would be minus 80. So that's the value of the contract. This is how we calculate value for a forward contract. Now let's bring in cost of carry and benefit of carry. So there might be a situation that some commodities has benefit of carry in the form of dividends. So shares have benefit of carry in forms of dividend. Let's assume that A is the present value of that benefit of carry. Also there is cost of carry. Let's assume that cost of carry is B. The tentative future price, right? So the future price at which I should enter into the contract would be given by the present value of the commodity or the share plus the cost of carry minus the present value of all the benefits into the time value of money, right? So that should be the future value of the contract in which I should enter. The value of the contract at the time of at any time t is given by ST, which is the spot price at that point of time. In the earlier case the spot price was 1700, right? And the tentative future price was 1620, right? Here we are calculating the tentative future price at a point t. It would be given by 1 plus r raised to power t minus t, right? So that would be the, raised to power t, raised to power t, small t. So that would be the tentative price of that commodity in future, right? So here also it would be t, not t minus t. So if assuming that A and B are 0, which means that there is no cost of carry and there is no benefit of carry. If we assume that there is cost of carry and benefit of carry, then the formula also incorporates the cost and benefit of carry. So the future value or the value would become Vt, which means value at in our previous example was 80, because the spot price after a year became 700, whereas we assumed that it should be 1620. So there was a value which was 80, right? So this would be actual spot price at the expiry or at any particular point of time, and this is the tentative, or this is the probabilistic price which we calculate using our mathematical formula or with our mathematical model. So that's how we calculate the cost of carry, or this is how we calculate the value of a contract. So this is important because a future contract may be settled in a physical form, which means that a farmer may physically deliver me the crop, or there is physical delivery of commodity, or it can also be settled just by paying the value. So a farmer may say that I don't want to deliver the goods, I would pay you rupees 80 because that's the value of the contract. So that's how the settlement of a forward contract happens. So this is all about forward contracts. In the next video we would see future contract. Future contract is important because in India there is future trading which is happening on NSE, right? We would look into what are the nitty-gritties of that trading, what is mark to market, and how a future contract is valued. Future contract is essentially valued similar to the forward contract, but then there are nitty-gritties of mark to market, etc., which we would see in that video. So thanks for watching this, and we'll come up with another video on futures very soon. Thanks, bye.